Hey guys, it's Axis tonight back again with another episode of developing a YGOSim, episode 10, the AI. So one of the major features that has existed since the dawn of a new era is an AI. The original one was built by Ice. Also goes by Tinkey on DevPro and Dawn. So the thing about the bot, when we first came in contact with it, it was connecting via IRC. Since it connected via IRC, it would use as a command line interface and boot up and it would duel. Rather stupidly, but it would still be able to duel. When the development team at Dawn left to form DevPro, we took the bot with us. Pretty early on, there was a misunderstanding and the bot was leaked to Percy. So Percy took a look at it and created something that was kind of sort of based on the same concept, and that's what I'm going to explain here today. But I have to say Percy did a much better job and had more access to more tooling, which we're going to re-engineer here. So go ahead and subscribe because this is going to take a while. So go ahead and hit the like button if you want to find out how the AI works and how to write your own AI or use the AI or fiddle with the AI or when's the AI going to be done. Go ahead and subscribe to get updates and like the video if you like AI. So to start out with, we are looking at the code base and we are in this file recreating the shell interface for DevBot. Now, if you're on DevPro, then you already know how DevBot works. You can either say, hey, dual DevBot, or right-click it, and you can dual DevBot. So it has a way of getting a dual request and then doing that dual request. And this bit of code here is the wrapper for that. So I'm going to start by explaining that. First up is it connects to IRC. If you use Node or you haven't used Node and you want to learn JavaScript on the server, the first thing I suggest you do is create an IRC bot. So all we do is we just require in the IRC module, and then we configure it to connect to the server, and then we connect to the server, and it just goes into the room and it sits there. It doesn't do anything. Next, we add a listener, and that listener is for when somebody says dual from. This is just like a way of programming commands into it, actions. It doesn't actually do anything, it just sits there. That's all it needs to do. Now, this is the critical part. The way our dual serve works is when it gets a game request, it actually routes backwards through the subsystems and sends a command or announcement system-wide over the game listing system. It was already there, so I just kind of like grafted this in. So it sets up a Primus connection, and what Primus is kind of like a wrapper around things like Socket.io, Engine.io, the Google implementation via Ajax, a raw WebSocket request, and adds a standardized way of dealing with that, kind of like Connect or Express. So if in the future some awesome framework comes out, I can just kind of like just swap it out or plug in and play whichever one I feel is best. And right now I'm just using raw WebSockets, but it's totally possible in the future that I can swap it back down once the code gets kind of refactored to Socket.io, and then we'll have like you can reconnect the games and stuff, which would be really nice. So it waits for that request, it filters it out here, and passes it over to a new dual. It creates a new dual object. Now, the new dual object, it was pretty massive. So this is just the shell, the wrapper. It's under 100 lines of code. It's pretty concise. It's mostly just loading everything that we're going to need, connecting to the game list, and connecting to IRC. That's all it does. So it's just a shell, a command interface, if you will, that provides the functionality that already exists within DevBot. Now on to the monstrosity. Whew. This is the monster. This is going to take a while to explain. So the first thing that the AI needs to be able to do is load a deck. So what I've told it to do is to go into my deck folder, pull out all the decks, and convert it into an object that I can understand. So that's what this does. Go in, find everything. Go in, find everything, and convert it to something that looks like this, and then stick it all on an array, and return that array. A little console logging, so I can see, which deck I picked. So the fifth one in my current folder, I decided to go with because it had a full main deck, side deck, and extra deck. I'm going to skip this part and come back to it. Down at the bottom. Okay, so this is the function called dual that's exposed. This is the only, I guess you could say, public function. So it takes a room pass and a bot name. It creates a connection to the server, a direct connection to the server, and I'll get into that in a moment. And then it allots some memory with a structure, which is the dual state, and that structure object is the dual state. It's instanced, so we can spin up multiple of these, and each one has its own connection set of memory that it works off of. The way Percival's AI works is it creates another client. When you duel against yourself, you're a host, and somebody external is connecting to you and dueling you. It's the same thing with the bot. The bot spins up another copy of Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, but doesn't start the interface for it, and connects that to the Lua engine, which runs a separate script, which is the AI. And the AI is responding to network requests and questions, which we'll get into in a little bit. They're pretty intense. It's not doing a lot. It's not doing as much magic as you would think, or the AI structure isn't doing as much work as you would think. So next up is the command parser. I'm going to have to do another video completely just to explain how that works, because it's pretty intense. But basically, it unravels all of the commands that come to the server from the bot, from the data structures that Fluorohydrate made, which are pretty strange in places. So that's what all of this does. It starts as a little tiny server, and it waits for requests, and when those requests comes in, it hands them off to the network decoder, which tries to understand what's going on, and that creates a set of messages. So this is that set of messages. I think I can go back a little further. Nope, that's it. Okay, so this is that set of messages. They're called server to client commands, and this is them here. So I'll do some if statements on that one. And this is basically just managing the lobby up until the duel starts, and the chat. So it's pretty standard lobby stuff that's done here until you get into the game, and then they are all on this one message. He stops using outer layer and only uses this one. So we have to dig a little deeper, and every single action that happens, that's why you see waiting going on so long, is every single message and every single animation has a message that is sent. You don't actually use the scripts that you're provided with when you're doing a client. So if we were to drop the replay function, that's like 10 megabytes of scripts that would just go away. And you wouldn't be able to host, but only when you're hosting, not when you're connecting to a server to play a game, do you use the scripts. You're working off of these messages here. So some of these messages are questions about what action to take. Now usually the user provides those, but in the case of the AI, they get handed off to these functions here. Now you might notice the names of these functions are the exact same ones as the ones that are in Snarky's AI, because those are the API names that are exposed by Percy's AI. So I went ahead and just used those names. Now Snarky gives a wonderful description of what parameters each one takes. So I just wrote all that down and created these function definitions. And I gave them some default return values, they equate to plain Exodia. And these create replies. So those replies then need to be bundled and sent back up to the server. Now that's the problem. Oh, like crap. The next thing is managing memory, which is this function here. And this is passed in along with a network connection, which I will show here. I named the bot Snarky Child because it's based on the Snarky AI. So this is instanced. One gets called each time a new duel comes in. This is the majority of where the networking is done. Things that you might recognize if you've been playing around with the server-side stuff. So there's a sending in the player info, join game, update deck, set ready, wait for somebody to come in, and then write the deck and set ready and start the duel. When it does a reply, I use this function here. And this is what I'm currently working off of. You can find a model for it here in the gframe network.h. I'm going to have to do a whole entire video explaining that, but basically these functions that get run, they're exposed, and it creates the message to send up to the server. So I've gone as far as the deck maker, locking in your deck. That's where I am right now. So effectively it connects and then it waits and then it dies because this command isn't right yet. I'm still working on it. So that's as far as I've gone with the AI. Once I actually start getting into the game, last year, late summer, I was able to make this, which you see in some of my earlier videos. I've extrapolated it out, and what it is a massive JavaScript file, which plays the game. It takes messages. It's a dirty version of all the code that I just showed you. It's like a really dirty version. As you can see, the same commands and with notes and what they do, and pulling out that information, which I've extrapolated to other files. I'll explain those in upcoming videos because it's extremely complicated. It took me months to do this, and I didn't have a lot of help. I had to pay some people to get help with explaining and where to find the code, to explain what to do, and you know, the developers, they're helpful, but only to an extent, and you know, developers aren't usually great at communicating things, and we only do this in our spare time, so I can only get so much help. But it does the same thing, except for this part that's coming up. It actually creates like it on screen, and you've seen that in my other videos, so there's no need to show that off. Go back to episode 1 and 2, I think maybe 3, and you can see it in action. So the idea is to connect those two things together to kind of skip through a lot of stuff, and then add the AI commands, give it an interface, and that will provide us with browser-based automated gameplay, which is something to be really excited about. But it all has to do with the bot. It has to do with the bot. So once we get the network stuff done, we're going to split the project. Somebody's going to do the AI, and somebody's going to start working on the browser version, and you're going to start like seeing that pop up. So I guess you all want to see the bot. Alright, so it prints out the deck that I'm using, and it automatically sent a game request, and as you can see, it's gone in there and it sent the deck, and it's probably gone right now. Oh, somebody's asking how the AI is going. That's ironic. Alright, so we're going to do a dual request, accept dual request from Snarky Child. So it connects in, and you know, we can click in, and it kicked me because it causes a core death. Because the deck update, the bot tried to click in, and it looks like it's just kicking you, but it's actually failing and dying. So you can see all the debug information. Like, I'm getting information back from the server, and I'm decoding it, and it's telling what's going on, and I'm understanding it pretty well. It's just working off existing things and slowly integrating it and reverse engineering. This is all reverse engineering based on what little documentation there is. That's why I'm making these videos, so if somebody comes back around, they can understand the process of how this happened and how to do things. So that's going to be it for this episode of developing a YGOSim, episode 10. So I'm going to go ahead and pass this off to Jetsai, so he can watch the video. Thank you guys. Remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you want to find out more about the AI, and I'll make more videos about the AI, or if there's something you didn't understand or you want me to go back over, just let me know. There'll be more videos explaining other parts of the code in the future. The AI is my main focus right now, so I've kind of like dropped the other projects and handed them off to the other developers that I'm working with. Remember to stop by our forums, and those are growing, and just spread the news of salvation. The new Critias Dragons are out. I have videos up, so go watch those. They are pretty damn amazing. New tune support's out. Special thanks to Yu-Gi-Oh! Hacks. And that's it for today. Access denied, connection terminated.